We talked all off season. We had Caleb Williams. We had Bo Nix. We had Jaden Daniels. Drake May. I mean, Drake May's not playing right now. Neither is Michael Penix. But Caleb Williams, Bo Nix, and Jaden Daniels. Welcome to the NFL, boys. This is not college anymore. And it is showing.
Yeah.
What worked in college is not going to work in the NFL. And it doesn't seem like that has clicked because we have yet to see any of these quarterbacks throw a touchdown. Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Beardzone Sports Talk, where the takes are almost as bold as the beards. I'm David. I got Carlos with me tonight. And Carlos, this NFL season just seems to get crazier and crazier by the week, and we're only in week 2. So I'm excited to get into it. But before we get into all of the games that was this past weekend, do us a favor, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button. That is the best way to continue to support us and help us grow this NFL season. But Carlos, week 2 is pretty much in the books. We had the Eagles and the Falcons playing right now. It is currently tied up in the first quarter at 0. But there was a lot of games this weekend that we just didn't really see coming. But let's go back to last Thursday's night game, because this is something. There is a big story, there's a big headline that I know that you're not too excited to get into as a Dolphins fan, but the Buffalo Bills went into Miami and they beat up on the Dolphins 31-10. Wasn't a very good game for the Dolphins. Honestly, we didn't really see a great game from the Dolphins in week 1 against the Jacksonville Jaguars, and when you go up against a team like the Buffalo Bills, I guess this is kind of the outcome. But the big story behind this is Tua went down with yet another concussion. What does this mean for him and the Dolphins moving forward? Because they just got done paying him. So what does this mean?
I hope there's a clause in there. But if he medically retires, I'm sure there's a clause in there that he doesn't get all that money. God, the guy just needs to learn how to slide. Like, I don't understand why you're past the first down marker and you're still diving forward. And it wasn't anything crazy. It looked like the Bills player actually caught him. So
Yeah.
it's he's just prone to it. I'm not the big concussion guy. Like, his life's going to end, all this stuff. These football players have multiple concussions throughout their career. They could be minor to major. He suffers from, dang it, and I'm not going to get the name. Anytime he has a concussion, he will stiffen up. It's not that the concussion is that severe. It's just something that triggers when he does get hit, have that brain injury, or that was concussions essentially are, he will tighten up. So some people think like, oh my God, it's so bad. The concussion is really not that bad. Brett Favre had almost 1,000 concussions throughout his career. He's operating fine. These guys, and some guys do have like Junior Seau and those guys that have those concussions and have those issues, but there isn't enough science. Like, I believe that those guys that tragically pass away, sometimes it's depression. When you leave what was your life, it's hard to bounce back. Like, those were the life of these players. What do you do when that's your life? Like, it's not just that easy to, but I think he returns. I think it's, he's going to a specialist again. He'll take 2 to 3 weeks, probably 3, get through protocol, and they'll just teach him, hey, slide feet first at all times. Never go for it. It just, for him, it's not his thing. And you're right, the Dolphins haven't been playing very well, their first week, and they kind of got it together. It's like last year they ran to open up the pass, and they ran very well. And this year, and everybody was, for the most part, healthy when it came to their specialty players. This year, Mozart's a little banged up already, and Yeah, I mean, I feel for you. I want him to be healthy, and I'm not trying to be selfish, but I don't believe he's had. I think it's his third concussion or fourth concussion.
It's his third. Well, I mean, third, I think, diagnosed, right? So, I mean, I'm
Yeah,
sure there's been others, but it's the third one. And, it's one of those things where it's weird because the Miami Dolphins, I mean, we've talked about this before. They're kind of in a window right now where they need to seize this opportunity, right? I mean, they have Tyreek Hill, they have uh, Jalen Waddle. They have a good young-ish defense, right? And then obviously Tua. I mean, and Tua's not a bad quarterback by any means. I mean, we've seen. I mean, the guy led the league in passing last year. So, um, it just sucks, man. It's a very
yeah,
unfortunate, but I mean, we see some of these players that come into the NFL and they're great, but unfortunately, they just one thing, or another, they just always have that injury that just lingers with them.
yeah. And I hear people talking about he should retire, and I'm not. It's not like I'm not. I don't know the unknown of the concussions, and I understand what concussions can do. 100%. I've played football, taken hits. I get it, and I don't want the comments. Well, he's never this and that. He's never like. Yes, I've had one. It's you get them like fighters get them. It can on some people have lasting effects, but I don't know. He'll be back. He's gonna come back. They're just gonna he's just gonna have to slide, man, or just throw it away. It's like we live to play another day type of thing. So hopefully he's back. But the Bills do, well, they're 12-2 against the Dolphins last 14 games. Unfortunately, they just they're big brother, their little brother. It's hard to beat big brother sometimes, no matter what.
Yeah, and to go to the Buffalo Bills, I mean, they started out the year 2-0. But I feel like that this 2-0, I mean, they had a really shaky start to the Arizona Cardinals, which, I mean, the Cardinals, they're all the way back, it seems like, with Kyle Murray, and we'll definitely get into that. But then you look at this game, and although, yes, they did go into Miami and they beat up the Dolphins this game, again, we don't really know what the Miami Dolphins are because they didn't play a very good game last week against the Jacksonville Jaguars, who just got beat by the Cleveland Browns,
Yeah.
so it's definitely a week to week basis in the NFL, and I understand that. But with this 2-0 start with the Buffalo Bills, I'm not completely sold on them yet. And I mean, like next week they'll probably go 3-0 because they're going up against the Jacksonville Jaguars, but I'm just not sold. I don't think that there's just something about them that it seems like Josh Allen didn't have the greatest of games last week, right?
I mean, their offense wasn't.
They
I
they
mean,
they
they
ran the
didn't do
ball very
anything
good.
last week. Yeah, they didn't. It's not like they put up a ton of yards for 31 points. Two his
No,
turnovers and just put them in good spots. Like, so it really the whole AFC East is like, which I thought would be more of a powerhouse, is kind of it's a little suspect right now.
it really is. It definitely is because no one is really stamping themselves as the team to beat. And again, it is week 2, so it's kind of hard to do that. But we are seeing some teams that are putting their mark big on the map this NFL season. So let's go to another game. Let's go to the NFC because this game was a surprise to me by I don't think anybody in the NFL world had this game and said, "Oh yeah, Minnesota Vikings are going to beat the San Francisco 49ers." But damn it, Sam Darnold and the Minnesota Vikings beat the San Francisco 49ers 23-17. Justin Jefferson with a huge 90, what was it, 97-yard, you
97.
know, touchdown pass. And I mean, Sam Darnold had a pretty clean game. He did throw one interception, but I mean, it's not the Sam Darnold that we have seen, and he's technically playing against his former team there with the 49ers. So, but what happened with the 49ers? Because they were the team. They were the team in the NFC, right, that everyone feared. After this game yesterday, I don't know if that's going to necessarily help their case with that.
I still think they're up there, but they're showing some weaknesses. I think the offseason stuff does hurt a team. You've seen Ayuk's production the last two games; it hasn't been good. Now they got the injury bug, which doesn't help. But I just feel like they're out of sync. They'll get into sync, but it doesn't help with the injury bug either. That won't help. But I mean, honestly, Sam Darnold is playing good football. He's not doing
He really
anything
is.
to really make a ton of mistakes. Like I said, he had the one interception, but he's putting the football where it needs to be. The Minnesota's they're playing good, man. They got a great head coach, so they're playing good football. Like it's 2-0. Like Sam Darnold's. It's such a weird season, man. Cardinals are winning. Sam Darnold's doing well. Dogs are
Right.
hanging out with cats, and who the heck knows, man? What the heck's going on this year?
I
You know?
know. Yeah, it's weird. And, speaking of the injury bug, they have Christian McCaffrey, who has been active for the past 2 games, right? He was actually just placed on IR this past week and leading into this game, which I know every fantasy football, player is happy if they have probably the first overall pick. Jordan, hey, shout out to Jordan Madison. He's been doing his things, 20 touches for 100 yards, a touchdown. Last week, he had a great game, so you can't fault him. But now they just lost Debo. And so that's going to hit him hard. And if I'm not mistaken, I don't know how serious it is, but I know that George Kittle did lead the game
Yeah.
temporarily there in that game. So who knows kind of what happened there. But Debo Samuel, Christian McCaffrey is out. God forbid George Kittle is out for any amount of time because that guy is a utility knife in that offense. And I don't think people understand that. The guy's blocking is he's like an additional offensive lineman out there, and I think that that's why they have so much success in the running game. But you look at this team; they're 1-1, right? They're the favorites to win. Obviously, the NFC West. They're in some people's brackets. They're the favorite to win the NFC and make another shot at the Super Bowl. Brock Purdy is a guy who has been Mr. Consistent there in that offense, but after yesterday and with the injury bug, are we going to start to see maybe I mean, luckily it's week 2, so they have some grace, but are we going to start to see maybe a slide here for the next few weeks with the San Francisco 49ers?
Yeah. I mean, losing McCaffrey sucks, but they're plug and play running back group. They're kind of like the Dolphins. One goes down, there's another, and if that one goes down, there's another. They just seem to come out of the woodwork. Debo, I don't think it will hurt, but they have some receivers that can kind of fill in a little bit there, and hopefully Ayuk's production goes up. Kittle, though, like you said, is a big one because he catches, he blocks, he just does a lot for that team and gives them some versatile plays that they can run. So versatility, and it's weird because they're not really saying a whole lot like what's going on with him. That it could be an injury that he re-aggravated from last week, and it's just gotten worse. But anytime you're carted off the field, it's never doesn't sound good. So
No.
hopefully we'll get some more news. But right now they're not. Man, it's kind of a mystery what's going on with them.
So for their next 4 games, they have the Rams, the Patriots, the Cardinals, and then the Seahawks. 3 of those 4 games are in division. Divisions always play each other really well. If this team, if they don't get healthy, right, in the next couple of weeks, could we see them losing 2 or 3 of these next 4 games? I don't know if they'll lose to the Patriots, but
I think the defense keeps them in that one. I think it keeps them in the Rams because the Rams got bit by 2 big
another
injury
injury bug.
bugs.
Yeah,
Like
fair
so they're
enough.
losing. But the defense is still good enough to keep them in some games. They just need a little bit of help on there. So hopefully not. That's a big loss. But like Cardinals are playing well. Rams, they're feeling the loss of Aaron Donald for sure. Like it's
Yeah.
and the injuries. The injuries are that sucks.
Yeah, well, let's get into that game, right? So the Los Angeles Rams, hopefully the 49ers can bounce back, but they don't have the easiest schedule for the next several weeks. So, I mean, starting out, if they lose the next, 3 games, if they lose 3 or 2 games, I mean, they're below 500 or right at 500, coming up to that kind of the first quarter of the year. So, rough start for the 49ers. Hopefully they can get some healthy, but speaking of a team that it just Gosh, man, it's like, they get injured and then they have a great last year, they all stay healthy, and now this year they're going right back into injury. You have Puka Nakua out, then the very next week, Cooper Cup is out. And it's like, in this defense, I think you're right. They are missing Aaron Donald. I get it. It's Aaron Donald. No one's going to be able to replace it. Rams fans are probably tired of hearing it, but it's just the truth. And now you guys are getting hit with the injury bug that likes to hit the Los
Ugh.
Angeles Rams. And you guys got absolutely blown out by the Arizona Cardinals and Kyler Murray, which we will obviously talk here in just a minute. But the Los Angeles Rams, how are they going to be able to overcome this? Because that's two huge blows to that offense.
I don't think they. I mean, they have some guys that are nice plug and plays, but now you're talking 4 weeks. Nakua doesn't come back for 3, and Cubs out 4. So you're running with you're gonna Tutu Atwell, Robinson, and Parkinson, and they still don't even have their Higby back yet. So I mean, they're missing that guy as well, and there's just so much you can lean on the run game. Mine is their defense is disappointing for them to give up 41 points to the Cardinals. I understand the Cardinals are doing well. Marvin Harrison Jr. lights up the first quarter. I mean, Jesus mercy.
Yeah.
But I don't know. We talked about earlier. They are revamping. That's what we heard from our buddy there, the Rams guy from Canada.
Yeah.
They're changing it, but when you change a scheme, maybe those players don't fit in that scheme. And at the end of the day, when I know that he didn't like it either, that they're not replacing him, they're changing. Man, it's a generational talent that we will not see another Aaron Donald for a while. When you build a defense around one guy, you're special.
Yeah.
Now you're having to get guys, and hopefully they fit in this new scheme defense. And so far, it's not working so well. But they got a road ahead of them, But you still got Stafford back there. He's a gunslinger. Kyron Williams he looks pretty good. Corum's been looking good when he comes in. And I mean, Atwell and Robinson have played good football in the past. So, he's fast. Robinson's a good receiver. They're just not Cooper Cup and Puka Nakua. So, man, speedy recovery those guys. And Cup was having a monster game before he went down, like monster. You almost wonder why he was in there at the end when you're down 41-3. Like, maybe just don't. You're down, man. There's sometimes you just weigh the towel and just, hey, well, let's get ready for next week.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean it sucks, man. But now we kind of shift our attention to the Arizona Cardinals. The Arizona Cardinals last week, they ended up going into Buffalo in week 1 against the Buffalo Bills. And although they lost that game, they put up one hell of a fight. And Kyle Murray looked really good. Marvin Harrison Jr. had a very quiet game, but man, did he make up for it this game. 4 catches, 130 yards, 2 touchdowns. And I believe those 2 touchdowns came in the first quarter, if not the first couple of drives.
He did all of that in the first quarter.
Yeah. Kyle Murray, 17 of 21, 266, 3 touchdowns. Then you have James Conner, 21 carries, 122 on the ground, and a touchdown. So this team is rolling on all cylinders. And with the other 2 powerhouses, now I don't want to discredit the Seattle Seahawks, because I think that they're doing a good thing there in Seattle, especially with their new head coach. I think that defense is definitely starting to turn the page. But Arizona Cardinals, with the 2 down, you have 49ers injury bug, Los Angeles Rams injury bug. If the Arizona Cardinals can stay healthy, can the Arizona Cardinals be the sneak pick here and win this division this year? Because it sure as heck looks like it.
It seems like the name of the game is just keep your superstars healthy, and you're in good shape. I mean, they got a tough matchup next week with the Lions. The Lions coming off of the loss this week. So, but it is at home, so they've got some home field advantage there. And I mean, man, Murray's playing great. He looks like he did a couple of years ago or 3 years ago. So he's slinging the ball, he's moving, he's rushing, he's being smart. So, and James Conner, man, could he be? He's got to be one of the most underrated running backs in football. This guy just doesn't do anything but just have great, good games. You never hear about him fumbling, and he catches the ball when it needs. Like, just so underrated. As a even in fantasy football drafts, man, this guy falls. So they're playing good football. The thing is with them is going to be is the defense. If the defense can hold opponents in the low 20s, I think they got shots, man. That offense is looking pretty good.
They are looking pretty good, and that is something to watch for this season. And I love when you're an NFL fan, and as long as you're not a fan for one of the other three teams in the NFC West, you love to see Kyle Murray play like this. I mean,
Yeah.
this is good football. It's fun to watch. It's exciting, and you're never going to complain about that. But let's continue to move forward with some of these games. Carlos, I'm just going to read you some stats really quick, okay? And then I want you to tell me team one or team two. Which one would you take? Team one had 216 total yards, right? They had 14 first downs. They were 2 for 10 on third downs, okay? They allowed 5 sacks, and their time of possession was 26 minutes, okay? Team two had 463 yards. Okay, they had 26 first downs. They were 7 of 17 for third down, so not all that great. Didn't allow a single sack, and they had the ball for 33 minutes. Now, of the two teams, which one would you rather have?
I'm taking the second.
Absolutely, and you would think that they would win the game, but that is not the case because team one was the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, and team two was the Detroit Lions. The Tampa Bay Buccaneers allowed 5 sacks to one man yesterday, and they still ended up winning the
four
game.
and a half. They gave a half to another guy.
Okay, sorry. Sorry.
Yeah, Hutchinson. I only got to watch. I turned the game on, and then the only thing I see is Hutchinson blow by the right tackle. I don't know if the right tackle knew the ball was hiked. And then I come back, I go walk away, and I hear on the TV Hutchinson with another sack, and I'm like, it's a long day for this right tackle because Hutchinson.
Yes.
I like this guy. Even when he was at Michigan, he's that kid never left Michigan. Played high school in Michigan, college football, and then drafted. Man, he's gonna be a star, man. Or he is a star. There's not he's gonna be. This guy's he's good, man.
I think that we need to start having the conversation with Hutchinson and the same conversations that we have Myles Garrett and TJ Watt. I think that he's now starting to emerge as one of these guys who you have to take account for every single Sunday. And God help, God bless that right tackle. I mean, he came in for Luka Decky yesterday. I don't know how much preparation he had for this game. But they tried everything. They tried to have the running back go over there and chip him a couple of times. This guy could just not get to his spot before Aiden Hutchinson was in Baker Mayfield's hip. And but hey, shout out to the Bucs, man. They talking about injuries, that defense was, they had Winfield Jr. out. They had, some other injuries. Vita Vea went down in about halfway through the quarter or about halfway through the game yesterday. That's a big blow. But the Tampa Bay Buccaneers are 2-0, and they're looking at the Denver Broncos next week back at home, which, I mean, we might start off with a 3-0 team. And Baker Mayfield, although it wasn't a performance that we saw in week 1 against the Washington Commanders, at the end of the day, he helped this team get a win. He made plays when he needed to make plays. I mean, that one run where he, put the defender on ice skates, and was able to, get the first down. He can escape the pocket. I mean, I know that he got sacked 5 times, but honestly, he should have been sacked probably 10.
Yeah. I love when Baker gets out of that. He does it every week too. He spins out of everything. He is he's up there, one of my favorite guys to watch. But it is like Detroit's defense played well. They held the team to 216 yards, 70 yards rushing, 146 on the passing. But it just, I don't know. They just when the Bucs needed a stop, they got it. And then like Detroit just couldn't put it together. Was I don't even think it was bad play calling. It just if it yeah, just at the right time, like they just messed up. And it's a good win for the Bucks, man. When you're on the road and you can win in Detroit or any city, yeah, I mean, it's a good win for them. That's got to be a boost, and they're gonna go. Man, I might eat these words. They're gonna win next week. I don't see how they lose, but man, yeah, they look good.
They did.
You'll take a 3-0 start, or you'll take the 2-0 start. Like I would love to be Dolphins be 2-0.
I think any team right now would love to be 2-0. But I don't know if it was some play calling. Maybe it was. I mean, Ben Johnson. It's hard to argue with some. It's hard to argue with him, especially in the plays that he calls. But my big question is why are you having Jared Goff throw for 55 times? If you're not down, by any significant margin, which they were never down yesterday, um, or on Sunday by any large margin. I think the biggest margin that they were down was maybe like 6 points, maybe 8 points, something like that. But I mean, it also doesn't help that I believe his first pass was intercepted. So I mean, they didn't start out right, but then the defense, showed up and they were able to stop Tampa from scoring. But Jared Goff threw for 55 times yesterday. When Jamar Gibbs and David Montgomery, they need to start leaning on those guys more because those guys are playmakers, and that is a dynamic duo that Ben Johnson can definitely take advantage of. I mean, I don't know why they didn't get the ball, as much as
Gibbs
they
averaged
did.
he averaged 6.5 yards a carry.
Yeah, you'll take that every day.
Yeah, you'll take it. I mean, he was the hot hand of the two. Williams only averaged 3.2, but if he's the hot hand, give it to him. He looked explosive. What I saw on there, and I don't know. I do think some of it was bad play calling and maybe overthinking either play action or something. But man, I would have fed Gibbs, and I would have made them stop him a few times before I would have gave up on it. And then, I don't know. I think it was a little bit of everything for Detroit. They just weren't meant to win that game for sure. But I don't think the Bucks were it's weird to say. I just don't think they were the better team, and the stats show it. It's just they did what they needed. They just grinded out a win, and I think the Lions shot himself in the foot.
Yeah, but hey, as a Tampa fan, a win is a win.
Yeah,
and I will take it. And it definitely helps us to be a 2-0 because there is another team in the NFC South that I was not ready for. Their first week, they put up over 40 against Carolina. It's Carolina. Then they go into Jerry World, and I'm thinking, oh, yeah, time for the Saints to be exposed.
no.
They were exposed, all right. They were exposed as a team that needs to be watched out for because where has this Alvin Kamara been for the past 2 seasons? That's my question because I didn't draft him in my fantasy league. I know I don't think you drafted him in yours.
No, I wish I would
4
have.
touchdowns though yesterday. 44-19. Saints dominate the Dallas Cowboys in Dallas. Dak Prescott, what are you doing? Didn't have a good game. You just got paid $60 million a year. You got to do better than that. That defense that we saw against Cleveland Browns just a week ago, I don't know where they were either. But Derek Carr, Alvin Kamara, and the defense of this Saints team are hot right now. And I don't know who's going to be able to stop them because they are putting together complete games these last 2 weeks, and they're a scary team to face right now.
Yeah, I don't know who this Derek Carr that they got from somewhere is, but he's playing well. He's throwing the deep ball well. Shaneed is playing. He's playing well. It's back to back week he catches long touchdown passes. Lave's doing his thing, and Kamara found the fountain of youth. 100% that guy is getting drug tested by the NFL this week because that's how they do it. He's 100% getting a drug test. But they look good, man. They look loose. That's the thing. They look loose and they're having fun. They go into Dallas. Dallas got a top 10 defense. That is a very good defense that they just blew up. And there's no injuries on that side for defense for Dallas. Like, man, and Dallas put up some yards. I mean, they had 353, but when they just got buzzsawed quick, like
They
the
did.
Saints jumped on them quick and just shell shocked them, and it's like, what the heck? And then they couldn't stop it. It's that old saying. I think it's from what is that football movie? It's The Replacements. What's biggest fear is quicksand. The harder you try, it's like you're in quicksand. You just keep sinking, and that's what happened to Dallas. The more they tried, just the worse it got. So, man, the Saints look good. It's probably it's the best Saints team in a while, but they look good. They're gonna be. Let's see if they keep it together. But they look very, very good right now.
They do look good. They play the Eagles next week, which currently right now the Eagles are down 3-0 against the Falcons. So who knows what this team is going to be? But if you're Jerry Jones, you're looking at your bank account going, man.
It's down to
I mean,
2 billion.
there's still a lot of money in there, but the guy who I just paid $60 million a year just threw 2 interceptions against the New Orleans Saints. What the heck is going on right now?
He's getting old. He might have not. They probably just showed him a game from the '80s, and he was like, "Oh, Roger Staubach still got it."
Fantastic.
Is that Emmett? Man, that boy can still run. So they, they'll. I hope they figure it out, but who knows? I'm telling you, man, when your team doesn't get to, it's another one. CD's not there, and I don't care how long you've been playing together. It's still a thing. The workouts together, there's distractions, and we'll see if they get it together. But they got to get it together soon for Jerry loses his mind. They get the Ravens next week, and both of those teams need to win. So you never thought going into this game that Ravens would be 0-2 and they'd 1-1.
Yeah, definitely not a start for either of those teams. The Baltimore Ravens, really quick, did lose to the Las Vegas Raiders yesterday, and nothing about this Ravens team just looks like they're in sync. I don't know what's going on. I'm not too sure what Lamar was doing that last play. Just finish the run, man. You're Lamar Jackson. Why are you throwing it backwards like this? Like, what are we doing? You had a blocker out in front, too. Just try and finish the play. I don't know. Everything about this Ravens team is starting to make me a little bit worried. And if I was a Baltimore fan, I would definitely be worried. But yeah, I don't know. But let's go on to something that some fans might be worried about. Other fans might not care because of who I'm about to bring up, and that is Travis Kelce. Where has he been the past couple of weeks? Because I know that the Chiefs have been winning, but if you look at Travis Kelce, he's kind of nowhere to be seen, especially in the stat line. I mean, he has 4 catches for 39 yards over the last 2 weeks. I don't know if
you're a fantasy football owner, you are ticked. This guy went quick, and you expect those 7-8 catches a week out of him for anywhere from 70 to 100 yards and a touchdown. I don't know, man. They have so many weapons with Worthy. Rashid Rice is playing great, and it's like Mahomes found but maybe that's the reason the other guys are playing so well is because they're doubling up on Kelce, and it's freeing them up. So maybe at some point, I mean, you would think that at some point he's going to get hot again. I mean, it's Travis Kelce, but maybe it's being on tour too much with Taylor over the last time and putting his tuxedo top hat on and doing whatever freaking dance, man. You're an NFL football player. Get that crap off. Shave that mustache and get up, grow that beard back, man. Let's go. Stop it.
Seriously. Come on, man. You're letting the Kelce brothers. You're letting the Kelce.
It seems like there's a lot of distraction for Kelce with his brother and them growing that side, and then the life of Taylor Swift, and it just seems like there's a lot going on with him. But maybe he's just a decoy. I don't know. It just seems like there's a lot. Never seen Travis Kelce. He has had a tough week, but not back to back. There's no way.
Yeah, definitely very odd. And, if he is the decoy, he might not be the decoy for very long because speaking of injuries, Isaiah Pacheco out for 6 to 8 weeks. Huge blow to this offense because, man, he was having a really good year. I mean, for the time that he was out there, 14 carries, 90 yards. You'll take 4.7 yards a carry. I know that he didn't get into the end zone
Yeah.
um, on the ground. So, but the Bengals are 0-2. And it seems to be falling apart from the seams as Jamar Chase now made headlines saying that he's not going to sign. He's just not going to sign. He took out that insurance policy, the 50 million insurance policy. That usually tells the rest of the world, "Hey, I don't care what happens this year. I'm covered now. I don't need a contract to sign." And if you're the Cincinnati Bengals, you have Jamar Chase and you have Joe Burrow. They have history together, right? The reason why you got Jamar Chase is because you drafted Joe Burrow the year before. But now it just doesn't seem like that is it's not the fairy tale anymore. It's not this, beautiful story that is, unfolding before our eyes. And I know Joe Burrow, he was hit with the injury, last year, but the first year that Jamar Chase and Burrow was in the league together, it was special.
Yeah.
And but that seems to have that's just now in the past. And did the Bengals need to move on from Jamar Chase?
I think I mean they could repair it. And here's another scenario where you have two receivers it's a chaotic offseason. You got Higgins, you got Chase. There's nobody, they're not getting those reps in because he wasn't even practicing. So here's another team that was going through contract stuff that just now, like you're 0-2, man. You can't afford to go 0-3, and you're in a tough division. And then, yeah, man, it's just another one of those things. I don't know if he signs. If I'm the Bengals, and I think you have that tough conversation, but he said he's not negotiating a contract during the season. So, and he feels misled by the Bengals. So it's not a good thing. But if you're the Cincinnati Bengals and you don't think that this is going to get done, trade him. You're going to get a 1 and plus another pick. You might even get another player. It may be another Bryce Young trade. Like trade the guy and get what you can, and then you still got T Higgins. Higgins is good. He is hurt, but then you can figure it out from there. But we'll see, man. It's just there's a pattern that these teams that we thought would be much better are struggling, but they all had contract disputes in the offseason, which delayed them getting ready for the season. So we'll see. I mean, but it's very hard to get a very, very, very good wide receiver, very good, and you don't want to lose them. And Tampa's done very well with Mike Evans and not losing him. But you can tell that Tampa, I think Evans is one of those players that feels that Tampa loves him. He feels it from the city. He feels it from the front office. He feels it from everybody. And Jamar is not getting that. And I mean, not to take anything away from Evans, Jamar might be, I mean, he's younger. So might be a tad better at this stage in their career. But he's not feeling the love, man. And these guys, they want it. They want to feel the love, but they want to get paid too. So we'll see how this plays out. This is not good for Bengals fans, especially when you open up week 1 and you penciled that in as a win. Everybody went to their win loss board and put a W there, and you come out of that with an L, and you're like, ugh, not good.
Not good. Not good at all. And it's going to be interesting to see how this continues to go. They have what should be a winnable game next week against the Washington Commanders. It's on Monday night. It's in Cincinnati. We'll see what happens there. But let's move forward. Carlos, we talked all off season. We had Caleb Williams. We had Bo Nix. We had Jaden Daniels. Drake May. I mean, Drake May's not playing right now. Neither is Michael Penix. But Caleb Williams, Bo Nix, and Jaden Daniels, welcome to the NFL, boys. This is not college anymore. And it is showing.
Yeah.
What worked in college is not going to work in the NFL. And it doesn't seem like that has clicked because we have yet to see any of these quarterbacks throw a touchdown, which is crazy. I know it's still early, but it's crazy. Because if you look just last year, CJ Stroud, I think in his second start, threw for over 300 yards, 2 or 3 touchdowns.
Yeah.
He's a guy. Caleb Williams last night, or I'm sorry, Sunday night against the Texans, had another not good game. He seemed to be out of sync and out of with his wide receivers. I don't know what that pass was there at the end of that game. With I think I don't know if it was Caleb not understanding what he called or Rome Adunze not understanding what he called with 2 rookies. There was obviously something that didn't line up. So I don't know if it was supposed to be a comeback route there at the sideline, but they both look confused. What's happening? It's too early to call any of these guys a bust, so I'm not trying to say that. But welcome to the NFL, and
Yeah.
how do they
You know, who's in the beginning we said probably got the short end of the stick, and that was Drake May being drafted by New England because there just wasn't a lot of talent. Looking at it now, he probably is just sitting back laughing because he's getting to do what he needs to do. Learn Jacoby Brissett's not a bad quarterback to learn from. The guy's been around forever, and he just he hangs around, and nobody's going to say, "Oh, that Jacoby Brissett's so athletic," or he's a smart football player, and that's who you
yeah,
want people to learn from, or smart players. And so May's getting it. Penix will get that from Kirk Cousins, but these guys are getting thrown in there, and they're not ready. I mean, he didn't have Keenan Allen, like you said. You got 2 rookies, and that's tough. And at the end of the day, we can say this, that, in person to about a rookie quarterback, whether we don't like, whether it's fingernail painting, whatever. It is the hardest position in any sport to play by far. There's not another position in any sport that's close to being an NFL quarterback. It is a tough. That's why so many of them don't pan out. So you just let's give these guys a little bit more time. Daniels seems to show a little bit more promise, but he's not pushing the ball. He's getting it to some people. Like Zach Ertz had a really good game, or good game. Like they're using the running backs, but you can tell that offense isn't wide open. I almost wonder if the Bears are pushing Williams too fast because preseason he did look good. So something's either they're pushing him too fast or they're holding him back. But I don't know if it's the whole back part. And Bo, but they're not holding Bo back. Bo's slinging the ball around everywhere, man. But I think that's what you need for Bo Nix. He's a tough cat. He got beat up in Auburn. He went to Oregon, did his thing. I really don't. I'm curious to see what happens with Bo, but he's going to keep slinging the ball. He's going to make his mistakes. He's probably in for a long season, but he's a guy that's been used to long seasons and grinds, and Auburn put him mentally to the test. So I think he'll be okay. Getting through the season, it's just going to be a long season for all of them. But the Bears fans have to be extremely disappointed the most, I think, with Caleb. I would expect it more for him not to have an NFL touchdown. Throwing that's crazy to me, especially
well,
you have
Caleb
DJ.
Williams hasn't seen the end zone at all.
No,
Neither
like
has
yeah,
Bo Nix. Now, Jaden Daniels had a couple of rushing
yeah,
touchdowns, but he's yet to throw one. So this is kind of why. And again, it's early. These guys are young. It's development, right? It's everything's got to come into play. And I mean, all of these guys, for the most part, were thrown onto teams that weren't good just the year before. And it's hard, unless if you're the Texans. I mean, man, the Texans hit a home run with CJ Stroud. I mean, unless if you're the Texans, with CJ Stroud, they can go from 3-4, 13, or 3-14 to freaking winning the division in a playoff game the
yeah.
next year. So it's going to be tough. But Bo Nix, I mean, hasn't thrown a touchdown for it, 4 interceptions so far this year. So I know Jameis might be happy. He's like, hey, maybe someone can compete with him for his record
I
for
don't know, man.
interceptions.
That record's
So
pretty solidified. I think Caleb gets one this week. I think Keenan Allen will be
I
back.
think so. Okay.
Yeah, I think he gets one in Indy, whether it's rushing or passing. So I think he's gonna get off that get finally off that zero there.
Here's the
So
other thing that I saw yesterday. DJ Moore did not look happy.
he's not. He's a competitor, man. He even though he had bad quarterbacks in Carolina, at least they were still slinging him the ball, and he could give him a chance, and he's not getting that right now. But he's got to just be patient. I get it, you're a competitor. Be patient, and the last thing you can do is show a ton of frustration to your rookie quarterback.
Yeah.
So leadership at some point on his end has to come into play. But I think he gets one. And it wouldn't be surprise me if they all get one this week. They all have matchups where they can do it. If Bo gets one, I think it's coming from a running back, either Robinson, like some kind of dump off that Eckler or Robinson break. So I don't know. Hopefully Winfield's back for the Bucks, and they'll
Wait, Bo Nix. Well, he
Bo
wouldn't be
Nick.
dumping it off to Eckler. You're
Oh, my
thinking of
bad, my bad.
yeah.
To McLaughlin or Williams. I got sidetracked pretty much, but I think they all have decent matchups. I think Daniels has the worst probably with the Bengals. They're going to be fighting for a win, so we'll see. But I think I could see a lot of rushing touchdowns in his future as opposed to passing. But it'd be nice to see them all get get that monkey off their back, and let's see. But
Just get settled in.
I don't think he's using. I think where Williams is making a mistake, he's not using DeAndre Swift in the running backs a little bit. Those backs are hitting me out of the backfield. They free your receivers up quite a bit, and I don't think they're utilizing Swift enough in the passing game to help him out. Like, you got to get those corners and linebackers so they can't cheat back. You got to have something, like, take what they give you. And I think that's where Williams' issue is. He's not taking everything what they give him, and he's maybe pushing the issue a little bit too much.
Yeah, it will be interesting to see what happens. But hey, they're rookies. Again, they're not. They didn't go on to great teams. Let them get settled. They'll come around. I'm surprised. It's a shame that Scooter has not been on these
Ugh.
past couple weeks because, oh my God, we want to hear the end of it. Caleb Williams sucks. He paints his nails too much. He's on TikTok. I don't know. I don't even know if he's on TikTok or not. But let's go to a quarterback. We're going to end with this guy. This guy, a franchise gave up the entire house for him, including the guy who we just talked about in DJ Moore. Now, we said it. Bears fans, don't be worried. Caleb Williams will settle down. Panthers fans, that time has passed. Bryce Young is officially benched just after 2 weeks in his sophomore year. And I'm not going to lie, Carlos, I don't blame him. This guy has not been playing good. You give
No.
up everything. I mean, you give up a lot. You give up DJ Moore. You give up two-year first-round picks plus second-round picks and then a 2025 second-round pick as well. So this is not what you expect. And for him to be benched in just 2 weeks, is this the front office going, okay, this is not our guy moving forward? Or is this the front office going, we need to have this guy sit. We have Andy Dalton. Let's try and build his confidence back and then maybe put him back in later this year, or maybe we move on forward with him next year. Where do the Panthers do? Is this the end of an era already in Carolina?
No, I think it's like you said, it's almost like, hey, let's give you a rest, man. You're in a funk and take some time off, but they can't afford to go 0-6, 0-7, and this team could go south really quick. He is not playing good football. It is terrible quarterbacking football. I don't know if it's the system. It just, with Canales being there, and it's just not working, or he's not picking it up, whatever it may be. But benching him is probably the best thing they could do for him and the team right now, because Dalton will give them a slim. He'll give them a slim chance to win. But Big Red, he can throw the ball around a little bit. So um, I think it's good for him. They can't afford it sucks when you trade that much away and you miss on a quarterback. And a lot of teams have missed, so we can't fault the Carolina Panthers. A lot of teams have missed on quarterbacks and invested a lot of money. So I think it's good for them, and they need some confidence. The team needs something. They need some positives because that offense is dismal. Like it is. I don't know. It's very bad. Like
There's no life. There's
none.
no life. It doesn't seem like that they have a system. It's almost like that they just go out there and be like, all right, let's just see what happens.
Yeah.
And there's been, gosh, man, there's been just some plays. Like yesterday, he rolls out and he escaped great. He had a chance to just throw it away, make it a zero play. Hey, it's an incomplete, but you don't take the sack. You keep you guard the ball, which you're the quarterback. The ball, the safety of the offensive possession is in your hands at the end of the day. You don't turn that ball over. But he rolls out, he gets away, and then he just stands there by the sideline and just waits to get sacked. It almost seemed like. So I don't know.
Hey, I'm over
I'm
here,
like,
guys.
yeah, hey tag, So, but it's not good. It's just not been good quarterback play. And I mean, he's thrown some interceptions, and it's not interceptions where you're like, oh, all right, fair enough. Like even the interceptions by Caleb Williams against Houston. Okay, well, were they the best throws? No. But were they horrible? No. You could see where he was trying to make a play, and it was just, this is the NFL. I mean, these
Yeah.
guys are just better, right? They're more athletic, so he's just going to have to find that, right? Bryce Young, I think he almost sometimes believes he plays for the other team because he just throws it directly to them. So it's not been good quarterback play. He's only at 55% completion. He only has thrown for 245 yards the past 2 games, no touchdowns, 3 interceptions, and obviously the Panthers are 0-2. Now, granted, I understand they don't have a lot of weapons around him. He's had new coordinators, new coaches, his entire career. He's just not good.
No.
So take a break.
His
let
two
let it be a good lesson, and
his
hopefully maybe Nick Saban can give him a call and try and talk some sense.
yeah, he needs something big time. His 2 game stats are the same as Anthony Richardson's stats from this week. So 200 and some yards, 3 interceptions. So he was another.
Yeah, I know Anthony Richardson is another one of those guys where I'm
Uh,
like, I want him to be good so bad, but I just don't know if he's going to be.
yeah, it was an interesting question. I know we're going along. How long do you give a quarterback time before he's a bust? Like, what's that timetable? Is it a year, two? Like, where is that timetable fit in? Like, yeah, this guy's a bust.
It's hard. It's hard because we've seen guys. Josh Allen, first 3 years, bust. Fourth year, fifth year, now he's okay. This guy is one of the best quarterbacks in the league, right? Jared Goff,
Very
not
close.
not not a great start in Los Angeles. I understand that he went to the Super Bowl, but that defense, that for that team was really good. They also had Todd Gurley and some weapons, and then they lost in the Super Bowl, and it was a horrible performance. He goes to Detroit. The guy's a baller. Baker Mayfield. He
Baker,
bounced
yeah,
around. He bounced around teams. So it's hard, right? You want to just kind of write guys off, especially in today's NFL, because these guys are just put right into the game, and it's hard, right? I mean, we're seeing it from the rookie quarterbacks already. This is the
yeah,
NFL. This is not college. The guys who you were more athletic than, you're not athletic anymore. I mean, you are, right? Because you're in the NFL, but you're not the most athletic guy on the field.
yeah.
So it's hard. It's going to be hard. And Bryce Young, to his defense, he has almost no weapons around him. As much as I love Xavier Legette, and I love to hear his post conferences and press conferences because the
Oh, man,
guy,
they don't win them all.
right, exactly. So, but it's hard. I don't know if you want. I don't know if you count Bryce Young as a bust yet, but I think you're only a few games away. But they've prolonged that for him at least, starting Andy Dalton, and I think it might be a good move
Yeah.
because now you sit him, now he can see a veteran quarterback move forward with his play, how he kind of runs the offense, and then we'll see. But it's hard to say. I think it's a case by case. How long do you want to wait? How long does your franchise want to wait? And if it's Carolina, we know that owner does not like to wait long.
No. I mean,
So,
for these quarterbacks, you don't get out good. The NFL stands for not for long. So,
yep,
yeah, we'll see. It's interesting. Hopefully, kid bounces back. I like him.
yeah, I do too. And like I said, maybe he just needs a pep talk from Nick Saban. Maybe he gets a call, and that's
Does
it.
Nick
Maybe,
get pep talks, or is it just a very stern like you don't get it together now?
hey, get
Out.
it together, or you don't have a job.
Yeah, because I
you
thought that's
know?
what he did in college. You don't get it together now. You're transferring to Memphis.
Yeah. Which, by the way, we'll talk about Memphis
Yeah,
tomorrow
tomorrow.
on the college episode. So be sure to stay tuned to that because the Florida State Seminoles.
Oof,
Oh,
that's a good talk for tomorrow.
it is a good talk for tomorrow. So be sure to stay tuned for that. But hey, do us a favor. If you have made it all the way to the end of this video, we appreciate you guys. That definitely helps us out as we continue to grow this NFL season. So go ahead, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button. Leave a comment down there in the comments. How long should Bryce or how long should a quarterback get before he gets the bust label? What is your time frame on that? We would love to hear from you guys. So be sure to do that. Turn on all the notification bells so that way you don't miss an episode this NFL season. As we have already discussed, this tomorrow we will be going into our college portion of the Beardzone Sports Talk. So you definitely don't want to miss that. A lot of teams are looking good and a lot of teams are looking bad. I'm looking at you, FSU. Follow us on all of our social medias. We are on Instagram. We are on YouTube. We are on X. We are starting to get more active on our socials because we want to continue to engage and interact with you guys. But we appreciate you guys. We love you guys. And until tomorrow, Beardzone out.